Hello everyone, in this video mini lecture I will be talking about virtual personalities and slightly touch upon the use of them as marketing tools. I will first discuss how virtual characters relate to the phenomenon of idol in Japan, and then we'll look at two recently emerged forms of internet-based virtual personalities. At the same time, please pay attention and think about these useful concepts as you listen to my discussion. To begin with, not all virtual personalities are idols, but the idolized ones are the epitome of how such entities and practices change the ways we think of interpersonal relationship and media consumption. Like real idols of real world, they are employed to fulfill certain functions beyond just entertainment. Here, we mainly focus on their marketing use, which equals to the promotion of ideas, values, and other interests for business or even government. So, according to the Japanese scholar Yoshida Masataka in his article on two-dimensional cute girls, the first instance of virtual idols comes from the TV anime series called Star of the Giants. Basically, the Giants refer to the Yomiuri Giants baseball team, which is a real-world entity in Japan. Their owner, the Yomiuri Media Conglomerate, which has newspaper and TV station in their network, used this anime series to promote both their baseball team and their media channels. What's really groundbreaking is that the fictional story didn't just transform this real baseball team into an alternative version that runs parallel to this world. The fictional idol characters in the story, right, who are called Aurora Sisters, actually come out of the narrative universe and become present in our world. So in the lower right corner, you see a CD of this anime series original soundtracks. And interestingly, all the other soundtracks are attributed to real artists who went for the recordings, but this one track, titled Kuru Nakoi, which means cool romance, actually lists the Aurora sisters as the singers. In other words, they are treated as real idols of this world. Later, there's even a five-member idol group who covered, this song, The Cool Romance, and they called themselves Aurora Sisters in honor of these virtual idols. So this is the classic way how virtual personalities intrude into the realm of idols. Ever since their inception in the 70s, virtual idols are becoming more and more out of their own original narrative context, and they appear frequently in marketing campaigns. But there's a problem. To some extent, the advantage of virtual idols over real idols comes from their relatively unrestricted realization of certain desired human qualities, especially the feminine traits, which are often exploited in fantasy-based artworks. In 2019, the Japanese Red Cross used this over-sexualized character called Uzaki-chan for their blood drive, and it raised a huge debate on the internet. So please check out the video we listed under today's assignment in the syllabus for a detailed introduction of this incident. So now let's shift gear and talk about two new forms of virtual personalities that have become increasingly popular in the recent years as graphic, AI communication, and social media networking technologies developed. The first concept I'd like to touch upon is the Vocaloid. Uh, Basically, it's just virtual personality based on sound. Normally, when we think of the full characterization of a fictional figure, voice is among the last, if not least, of the features that need to be decided and produced. We usually have an abstract imagination of a character first, along with their speeches and actions in the story plot. Then, basing off these abstract descriptions, the illustrators will create visual images to bring these characters to our vision. Finally, in the event that the story is made into a film, we'll then have to think about what kind of voices to assign to the characters. However, Vocaloid is the opposite. It originates from a computer sound database, which is almost deprived of identity. But some Japanese genius marketers are sensitive enough to come up with visual representations of these virtual voices. And then many creative people turn those rudimentary character images into full-fledged multimedia narrative productions. So how does that happen? Let us travel back to the year of 2004 when Yamaha, the Japanese company famous for making music instruments as well as motorbikes, published a voice synthesizer called Vocaloid, which eventually became the terminology we used to call software-based voice personalities. Basically, this software package has a voice database and a user interface that can be used to customize, simulated speech or singing voice in the Japanese language. And 3 years later, when they released the second generation of the software, another company called Krypton Future Media, which supports voice samples to the database, comes up with the idea to use cartoon characters to personify and promote their featured version of Vocaloid. Among the characters they created for different voice types, Hatsune Miku, which means the first sound from the future, became extremely popular and successful. Some people who use this program to generate audio works also feature Miku's image to accompany the voice. Just within a year of Miku's inception, a 3D animation software called Miku Miku Dance was published by a third-party developer to facilitate the creation of everybody's own Miku videos. This further increased the liveliness as well as popularity of the Vocaloid. There have been Miku concerts held in large stadiums in Japan, while famous brands like Toyota invited Miku to star in their advertisements. Safe to say she is an idol. As the voice simulation technology develops, Miku's singing capability also upgraded. Now she can sing in Japanese, English, Mandarin Chinese, Korean, and Spanish with the latest version of the Yamaha Vocaloid software, which I believe is the 5th generation. And also, her virtual siblings and cousins can also do this. Last year, Krypton started to move away from Yamaha software, and they're developing their own platform of voice simulator. One special thing I like to mention is that this guy in the picture, a deep otaku, officially married Hatsune Miku in 2017. Well, I say officially, it doesn't mean that it's recognized by law or by society at large. Lots of Miku fans are actually blackmailing him for doing this, to their virtual idol. What really happened was that this guy bought a Miku hologram, as you see in the picture, from the company called Gatebox. And this Gatebox company was really fulfilling the otaku's dreams by providing them marriage certificates, right? If they choose to apply, and if they have, bought products from the company. So if you want to check out, how this guy lived his marital life with Miku, you can search Asian Boss on YouTube. There's an in-depth interview with him, and they have English subtitles. So speaking of YouTube, let me talk about the second new concept of virtual personality that has become very popular recently. VTuber or virtual YouTuber refers to an online entertainer with an avatar to perform mouth and body movements. The critical difference between VTubers and the classic virtual celebrities is that the VTubers are interactive. They are born and made to behave just like another normal human being who happens to have an online presence and share with the viewers what they do and interact with them. What are the most common things for them to share? Well, playing video games, singing, chatting, and whatever fun activities to help you while your time away without feeling lonely. The first influential VTuber is called Kizuna, who appeared on YouTube at the end of 2016. She claims herself to be, run by artificial intelligence, which is of course a fictional pretense. The production team tried their best to make the impression that she is a living idol instead of a puppet manipulated and dubbed by people from behind the stage. It is suspected that her movements are powered by Miku Miku Dance or some similar technology, but there's no sure evidence. We didn't know who the voice actress was until last year, when the production team established a company and they had to publicize their information. Another significant moment of the VTuber phenomenon I like to mention has something to do with political propaganda, which is also a form of marketing. In February 2020, the Communist Youth League of China, which is a subordinate of Chinese Communist Party, and they're in charge of the middle school, high school level of ideological education. They made a grand debut for 2 virtual representatives, along with a Vocaloid song in Chinese. This new fashionable publicity campaign is made to echo with the national ideological program called Made in China Day. So in the picture, you see this girl. Her name is Jiang Shanjiao, which means something like lovely territories of our country. Her virtual younger brother is called Hong Qiman, which means free-flowing red banner. These two terms are taken from Chairman Mao's poetry, and they're supposed to remind Chinese citizens of the nation-building achievements led by the Communist Party since the days of the founding fathers. However, the public opinion was overwhelmingly negative, partly because people are not used to having such infantile and sexualized representation for something as serious as political ideology. The other reason was that COVID-19, right, was hitting China. Uh, it reached its peak in China around the time of the Chinese New Year. The entire country was in its most austere and solemn moment to fight the pandemic and condole for the casualties. It's not hard to understand why the Communist Youth League had to take down all its VTuber postings on social media and totally abandon its plan. So according to the self-congruity theory in media marketing, virtual influencers can bridge the gap between advertiser and consumer by fostering the identification between self-image and brand image. So the unfortunate fate, of these two VTubers, right, teaches us a lesson about media consumption and public opinion. But it won't stop the development of virtual personalities and their marketing use. So what will become of tomorrow, when it's more developed in terms of, virtual personality and marketing, right? Let us inhabit in this fast changing world and keep asking questions. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in class.